Hey, this is Brighter Rays, and we're looking at Genesis 43. Today we're in 26 through 34, looking at the graciousness of God in this passage. Now, we have the noon hour come in the story, and Joseph leaves the job from, he's out there selling the grain to the people that are coming, and so he leaves and he comes in to eat. Now, when he enters, his brothers, the 11 sheaves of grain, remember, they all bow down to him and they lie prostrate on the ground. Hey, just like the dreams foretold. So Joseph inquires about his father if he is still alive. And they explain that Jacob was alive and well. And then Joseph looks around and he sees his brother Benjamin, who was just a little boy the last time he saw him. Joseph asks, "Is this your youngest brother of whom you spoke to me? God be gracious to you, my son." And Joseph, being overcome with emotion by seeing his younger brother, he quickly leaves the room and he goes to his bedroom where he really gives full vent to his emotions. He hides himself so that he can, weep over what's happening. Partly for joy, I'm sure, but also partly because of all he's gone through. Now he gets to see his brother. So when he is able to get a hold of himself, he washes his face and he returns to the dining area. Now, Moses describes a situation in the room that wouldn't have been typical in those days. Joseph sat by himself at a table because he would not have sat with anyone else, not his servants. He wouldn't have sat with the servants because they're a lower class than him. And so the Egyptian servants would sit off in a room, off in the room, separate. Still in the room, but not at the same table. And because the Egyptians believed that eating with foreigners would defile them, that was an abomination to them, Joseph's brothers would have to be seated separate at a separate table too. So they have 3 tables basically in the room. You have Joseph's table, you have the servant's table, and then you have the brothers' table. But what would come next would astound the brothers. All 11 of them were seated in order of their age. So the servants came in and said, okay, you sit here, you sit here, you sit there. And their looks of amazement show that they believe that this was not a coincidence, but that somehow the governor knew their birth order. They weren't just like, oh, what? Oh, that's kind of weird. Or else no, because this was done deliberately. They knew it was done deliberately. They were seated in a certain way. It wasn't just that they sat down in that way, or that it was just kind of a random thing. They believe that something's going on here. They're like, wow, how did he know? How did he know how old we are and what age, order we're in? So they don't believe it's just coincidence. They believe that Joseph knew how old they were. Now, portions of food were taken from Joseph's table and were given to the brothers, with Benjamin's portion 5 times as much as the others. It's been recorded that where cultures like that of the Hebrews would give a double portion to the firstborn or the favored guest, the Egyptians liked the number 5. They did 5 times. This has led some to believe that this is yet another test of the brothers by Joseph. If Benjamin is favored, like he was, will the brothers act as if they did in the past? If Benjamin is favored like Joseph was in the past, will the brothers act the same way? Will they be jealous of Benjamin? Will they, react in the negative way like they did last time? Or have they changed? Will they retaliate? Will they complain like, hey, why does he get 5 and I don't? What? That's not fair. So, what's the answer? Do they retaliate? Do they complain? Do they get upset? Do they, grumble amongst themselves? No. The answer is they just drank and were merry with Joseph. That's it. They didn't get upset. They were like, well, why? They didn't question it. They're just like, hey, it's party time, man. We're not being accused of spies. We're not dying. We're not going. None of us are in jail. We're all alive. We're going to be able to, our donkeys are fed. We're going to be able to buy the food. It's good. Life is good. Now, we can only guess at the full motivation of Joseph's actions. But at this point, he's still not willing to reveal who he is to his brothers. As we'll see in chapter 44, he has one more test for them before he can fully trust them. Many have questioned Joseph's, kind of stringing along of his brothers, and that is probably a valid question. Was it right for Joseph to do this? Well, the last time he trusted his brothers, they threw him in a pit and sold him. Only a fool would blindly trust them. And remember, Joseph's no fool. He is the wise and discerning man of Egypt. As the book of Proverbs says, the wisdom of the prudent is to discern his way. The simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. So is it morally wrong for Joseph to do this, or is he being prudent? Is he being wise? Is he being, smart with his actions? Because last time he trusted his brothers, they, first of all, they wanted to kill him, but then they ended up selling him. So that's all he really knows of his brothers. They hated him for his dreams. How can he know that they won't try to do the same thing again? How do they know that they still don't hate him? How does he know that they won't, try to derail everything that's happened in his life, everything that's been good? How does he doesn't know that they won't go to Pharaoh and expose him for who he is, or at least try to ruin everything that's going on. He doesn't know that. So I think he's using prudence here, being smart, watching his steps, being careful. He knows who people are. He definitely knows who his brothers are. He knows that they've been liars in the past. And so testing their honesty, testing the hearts of these men is not really a bad thing to do. It's not a sinful thing. And it shows his wisdom, I think. He's like, they don't know who I am, so I'm going to play this role. I'm going to act this part for a while as the governor, and just play the governor role, and see see where these brothers are at. Can I put myself into their hands again? And we'll see what happens. So he's got one more test, and that'll be in the next chapter. But that's the end of this chapter, chapter 43. That's the story. And next time, come back tomorrow, and we'll just wrap up our story, kind of think about some of the lessons we need to learn from chapter 43 here.